Shadow vs. Earth. Murim, Blaze and Kira. In the Murim world, martial arts reign supreme. He fuels superhuman abilities, with clans vying for power. Justice factions fight corruption, while evil forces seek dominance. Demonic cults follow their own code. Most of the world unaware of the fantastic abilities, though rumors persist. A few days before their 13th birthday, 12-year-olds Blaze and Kira, two preteens just released from school, hurry to catch the show. Enthralled by the reclusive monks and sages, sneaking into even the temples and training areas forbidden to outsiders to watch and learn. As Kira and Blaze creep through the dense forest, their hearts pound with anticipation. The ancient temple looming before them, its weathered stone walls shrouded in mist. They know they shouldn't be there, but the allure of the mysterious monks is too strong to resist. As they approach the training grounds, the sound of clashing weapons and shouted kiais fill the air. Kira grabs Blaze's sleeve, pulling him back into the shadows. They peer out from behind a large boulder, their eyes wide with wonder. The monks moving with fluid grace, their bodies a blur of motion as they execute intricate fighting forms. Ki energy crackles around them, visible to Kira and Blaze's untrained eyes. He looks at Kira, then says in her mind, "You think they'd ever let us normal folks train in here?" She giggles, then silently nods. "Maybe someday, who knows? We can hope," she says just as they are spotted by one of the monks patrolling the grounds. She pulls Blaze into a sprint. "Hey, you kids, get back here," he shouts as they take off running. A few other monks try to catch them but are too slow as Blaze and Kira avoid their grasp. Their forms a blur to all but the most refined, seasoned and powerful monks, watching intently as they dart over the exterior wall with superhuman agility. One of the masters looks to his charge on his right. "Those two always get away, escape our best guards. And they seem to grasp our teachings well. I want you to find them. Not to punish them but to request a meeting," he says to the man who nods. "Yes sir," he says, then vanishes as a blur. Kira and Blaze race through the forest, their hearts pounding in their chests. The shouts of the monks behind them, growing fainter with each passing moment. As they burst out of the tree line and into an open field beyond, Kira slows to a stop, doubling over and gasping for breath as Blaze skids to a halt beside her, his own chest heaving. "That was close," she pants, straightening up and wiping the sweat from her brow. "I thought for sure they were gonna catch us this time." Blaze grins, a mischievous glint in his eye. "Nah, they never catch us. We're too fast for 'em." She shakes her head. "No, they just don't send the ones with the greatest ability. The ones with the smaller but dense ki around them," she says. As they walk, the sun begins to set, painting the sky in vibrant hues of orange and pink. The air crisp and cool, carrying the scent of the forest in its ethereal touch. Dot. 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 Blaze frowns as they walk. "Maybe we push our luck a lot going to the same temple so often," he thinks as a figure in dark robes appears before them, blocking their path. The man tall and muscular, his presence commanding. His eyes sharp and piercing. Just visible to them, a faint blue aura surrounding his body, pulsing with restrained power. Kira and Blaze, heir to the lost kingdom of redemption. "I presume?" he asks, speaking in a low, measured tone. Blaze steps forward. "Not many know that about me, and most that do aren't very nice people," he says as the air grows charged. The man raises his hands. "Calm down, young one, I'm no enemy. The temple leaders would like to meet with you. Tomorrow at noon. Don't be late, should be just enough time for the trip from school," he says, then in a flash he vanishes into a glowing portal that appears from a stone. There's a light snap and the glow vanishes as the stone cracks and falls to the dirt, its magic exhausted. Kira and Blaze stand in stunned silence for a moment, processing what just happened. The sun nearly set now, painting the sky in deep purples and blues. A cool breeze rustles the tall grass around them, carrying the earthy scent of the forest. Kira nudges him. "What do you think that was about?" she finally asks, her voice barely above a whisper. She looks at him, her eyes wide with concern. His brow furrowed as he ponders the situation, his fingers absently tracing the outline of the family crest hidden beneath his shirt. He sighs, his shoulders slumping slightly. "I'm not sure, but it can't be good. The temples don't just invite outsiders in for tea and cookies, especially not someone like me. he says, and she squints at him. He said both of us. And besides, I'm gonna be your wife, so it's us. But friends first, she says, smiling. He glances around nervously, as if expecting more dark-robed figures to appear. We should probably tell someone about this. Your parents maybe, or the school principal. This could be dangerous. Kira nods, biting her lower lip. You're right, we can't keep this a secret long. My father is the voted leader around here, and he might be upset if we get in trouble again. She looks at him, her face tense with worry. He nods at her. We'll tell your father first. He'll know what to do, he says as they continue on. The sun now almost fully set, and the world around them is cast in a soft, eerie light. As they walk, the wind picks up, carrying with it the distant howl of a wolf. Blaze shivers, not from the cold, but from an unsettling feeling that crawls up his spine. We'll make it back just in time, he thinks. Then grows more uneasy. The wolves shouldn't be out this early, he mutters, scanning the darkening landscape. Kira notices his unease and moves closer, her small hand finding his in the dim light. Maybe we should run the rest of the way, she suggests, speaking softly. He shakes his head. No, running would be acting like prey. Just stay calm, we have our daggers. Kinda wish we had those rifle things from overseas. They call it an M4. No need to get close, just throw lead at them with some exploding powder. He says, thinking of how different parts of MurimEarth are. Dot. Dot. He looks high above them, a jet barely audible overhead, as a horse and carriage quickly trot by on the path. Not sure why they don't want more modern stuff in some places, he says, shrugging. Kira frowns. Those things are so unfair. We couldn't even dodge those if we were 3 times faster. Besides, we don't like killing. It's bad. We defend ourselves and others, she says, looking towards the sounds in the distance. They quicken their pace, the sounds of the wolves growing louder behind them. The night air thick with the scent of damp earth and the musky odor of the predator stalking the shadows. Her grip on Blaze's hand tightens as a shiver runs down her spine. The forest suddenly eerily quiet, save for the occasional snap of a twig beneath their feet and the distant hooting of an owl. As they round a bend in the path, a massive gray wolf emerges from the shadows, its green eyes gleaming with hunger in the moonlight. It lets out a low growl, its hackles raised and teeth bare. Blaze looks at it a moment. Kira, watch for other wolves from behind and around us, he says, remembering her father's teachings about pack hunting. She nods, her pulse quickening as she scans the surrounding darkness. The wolf in front of them growls more aggressively, the sound vibrating their very core, its massive frame tensing as if ready to pounce. Blaze reaches for his dagger, his movements deliberate and controlled. Kira, I need you to stay close to me. We're going to have to fight our way out of this. She nods, her fingers wrapping around the hilt of her own dagger more tightly, the blade in its sheath. The wolf circles them slowly, its movements fluid and predatory. More growls echo through the trees, and Kira spots 2 more wolves emerging from the shadows. Blaze, we're surrounded, she whispers, her voice quivering slightly. She looks at the wolf as its head sits a few inches higher than Blaze's eyes. That's gotta be 200 or more pounds at least. She thinks towards Blaze, who nods grimly, his grip tightening on his sword-like dagger. Probably a well-fed gray wolf. They're native to this area. But why are they out so early? He says as the wolf in front of them lets out a bone-chilling guttural sound. The sound echoes through the forest, sending shivers through both of them. The 2 flanking wolves beginning to move in, cutting off any possible escape routes. Blaze takes a defensive stance, positioning himself slightly in front of Kira. When I give the signal, we need to run. Full sprint, don't look back. Kira shakes her head, heart pounding in her chest. The wolves now completely surrounding them, their eyes glowing an eerie green and silver in the moonlight. You said it first, if we run near prey. Maybe our word or expectation sets us up to get through this somehow. But if we flip-flop, proof health gone, slip up thinking of running instead of defending. Like now, she says as she spots another wolf just feet away as it bursts out of the trees and underbrush. Blaze sidesteps its jaws as they snap shut, almost catching him, its head slightly bigger than his chest. He swings his sword down, hitting the beast with its flat edge, his superhuman strength stunning the creature as it leaps away to recover its senses. With little time to relax, 2 more wolves dart forward. Kira steps in the way, swinging her sheathed blade. The impact sending the wolf tumbling past and into the third as Blaze lands another non-lethal blow as the two collide. Jumping away from the 2 flailing wolves, they move into the opening created as they attack, Blaze and Kira standing back to back, unsheathed swords pointed towards them. Blaze smirks. "We let you go uninjured 3 or 4 times already. There won't be another," he says. The biggest of the wolves seems amused as the pack closes in. Suddenly from behind, a wolf flies through the air, jumping off a tree. Its jaws clamping onto Blaze's shoulder, ripping him off his feet. He lashes out with his sword, stabbing at the creature's vital areas in its neck and head, causing it to let go as they tumble. Looking up, he sees 2 more coming his way as 3 converge on Kira. "We can't beat these things," he thinks, seeing a wolf's teeth rip away Kira's sword. "We're gonna die," he thinks in horror. Just then a voice in his head speaks. "I can help you. Just say the word and I can take care of those pesky wolves," it says as Blaze sees Kira land a hard punch that sends one wolf crashing through the foliage. She jumps away but is cut off by another as they quickly surround her. Blaze nods. "Just to help my friend," he says in his mind as everything slows down. Then everything goes black and featureless, a sense of motion the only thing Blaze noted upon the change of perception. Outside his mental space, Kira looks up at him as he grabs a wolf by its neck, breaking it with ease, then rips off its head. Quickly turning, he impales another in its skull with a spear hand, and the other wolves retreat. Watching in shock as Blaze systematically takes down each one, she gasps at his ferocity. He lands in front of her and she notices his aura has turned a dark, empty feeling color. He looks at her and she gasps, seeing his blackened eyes. "No, you, give him back to me," she says, grabbing him by the face. "Never, I like this body too much," the presence says as he jumps away. Kira leaps after him and grabs him as they hit the ground, tumbling. The forest quiet as they land, the ground trembles and shakes from their struggle. Dot. 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 As the sun rises, Kira looks at Blaze as he lay there, the presence having fled hours ago. As she sits holding him, the family demon wolf pup appears, rushing over to her. "Spark, Blaze is hurt," she says, crying. The young demon wolf looks at him in worry, then nods. "I'll be back with Master and help," he says in her mind, then dashes away. Blaze stirs, his eyes fluttering open as he slowly sits up. Worry and relief in Kira's chest. "Blaze, are you all right?" she asks, her voice trembling slightly. He looks around, his brow furrowed in confusion. "What happened? The last thing I remember is..." He trails off, his mind racing as he tries to piece together the events of the night before. "The wolves. I remember fighting them, but after that, everything is a blur." Kira bites her lip, her eyes downcast. Someone else took control. "I could see it in your eyes, Blaze. They were black, empty. And the way you moved. I heard the voice too. Don't ever listen to it, okay? It felt so icky and dark. And you lost yourself," she says, looking back towards the wolves. Just then her father appears. "Kira, Blaze, what happened? Kira, are you hurt?" he shouts, rushing to her. Kira shakes her head. "No, I'm fine, but Blaze, she glances at him, her face contorted with worry. Blaze stands up slowly, his head spinning. "I don't know what happened, Master. I just remember the wolves attacking," and then, he pauses, a shudder running through his body as he recalls the dark presence. The man's eyes narrow as he looks at the carnage around them. "I see. If you had followed curfew, this wouldn't have happened," he says, growing upset. Blaze shrinks back, Kira's father, a powerful fighter back in his day. "Sir, the wolves came out early. I swear we tried to get home," he says as Kira nods in support. The middle-aged man takes a deep breath, his anger palpable but tempered. "Very well, I will not punish you for this transgression, given the extraordinary circumstances. However, I must stress the importance of adhering to the rules and curfew from now on. The world outside the clan's protection is fraught with danger." Dot. Dot. After speaking with Kira a moment, he turns his gaze to Blaze, his expression stern yet filled with a hint of understanding. As for you, young man, it seems there is more to your story than meets the eye. The way Kira described your eyes and demeanor during the encounter with the wolves. It hints at a power beyond your current cultivation level. I sense you are harboring secrets, he says. Blaze shakes his head. That may be true, but I didn't know I could do whatever that was, he says. Her father nods solemnly. I see. It appears you have stumbled upon a latent ability, one that even you yourself were unaware of. Such occurrences are rare but not unheard of in the world. It is possible that the darkness within you, the presence Kira sensed, is a manifestation of your inner chi that has lain dormant until now. He places a hand on Blaze's shoulder, his grip firm yet reassuring. Do not fear this power, Blaze. Embrace it, understand it, and learn to control it. The Murim way is one of self-mastery and discipline. Let this be a lesson. The path of cultivation is never straightforward, and unexpected trials will arise. For the first time, Kira glares at her father and looks at Blaze. Don't listen to him, she says in their mind space. ... The next day, as the school bell is about to ring, Kira looks over at Blaze, the meeting at the Forbidden Temple on her mind all day. She hesitates for a moment before approaching him. Blaze, I've been thinking about that invitation we got. Do you think we should tell anyone else about it? Her face a mix of concern and excitement. He looks around the almost empty courtyard, ensuring no one is within earshot. I don't know, Kira. The man in dark robes said it was meant for just the two of us. And with what happened last night, he trails off, his thoughts drifting back to the supernatural event. Kira nods, understanding his hesitation. You're right, but the temple leaders must know something about you, about us. About our connection to the kingdom of redemption. He shrugs. Honestly, I thought it was a kid's story, he says as they walk. The school bell ringing loudly. A few teachers glance at Blaze and Kira but pay them no attention. Kira frowns as she considers Blaze's words. But what if it's not just a story, Blaze? What if there's truth to it? The man in dark robes seems so serious, and the way he talked about the kingdom of redemption. She pauses, a shiver running down her spine at the memory. And then last night, with the wolves and whatever that dark presence was inside you, it can't all be coincidence. Blaze runs a hand through his hair, frustration evident in his expression. I know, it's a lot to take in, Kira. The idea that we're somehow connected to a lost kingdom, that we have some sort of destiny. ... As they reach the temple, they see the gates swing open as they approach. The intricate statues and murals pulling their attention in all directions, their steps echoing in the large empty chamber. Kira smiles. This place, it's amazing, she says as they spot a few monks dressed in royal-looking attire. The monks turn to face them, their expressions a mix of curiosity and solemnity. The eldest among them, a man with a long white beard and piercing eyes, steps forward. Welcome, Blaze and Kira, he says, his voice resonating through the chamber. We have been expecting you. Kira takes a step forward, her heart pounding with anticipation. Thank you for inviting us, sir. We're a bit overwhelmed, to be honest. This is all so sudden and unexpected. She glances at Blaze, seeking reassurance in his presence. The monk nods, a faint smile playing on his lips. I understand your confusion and trepidation. Blaze steps forward, his expression guarded yet curious. I'm sorry, sir, but who are you exactly? And why did you invite us here? His gaze flicks between the monk and the ornate surroundings, his mind racing with questions. The monk's smile widens slightly. Ah, of course, forgive my manners. I am Grand Master Han, the leader of this temple. As for why you're here, he pauses, his eyes locking with Blaze's. It's about your abilities and how you manage to evade our guards, he says, chuckling. Grandmaster Han's smile falters for a moment, his eyes narrowing slightly. Though I must admit, I find it curious that you seem to know so little about this place, given your talents. Blaze's gaze becomes more intent as he considers the Grandmaster's words. I don't understand. What abilities? And how did we evade your guards? We were just wandering and got lost. Han smirks. We've watched you closely, even made it a challenge to capture you if possible. How would you like to learn at the temple yourselves? He asks unexpectedly. Grandmaster Han's words hang in the air for a moment, his smile remaining but his eyes glinting with something unreadable. Blaze's brow furrows as he processes the unexpected offer. You want us to learn here? Blaze asks slowly, glancing around at the opulent surroundings with a mix of skepticism and intrigue. But why? I mean, no offense, but we're just wanderers. We don't have any particular talents. He shrugs, a hint of embarrassment coloring his words. Han chuckles, a rich, warm sound that seems to fill the chamber. Oh, but you do, my boy. You do. ... As they leave the temple, Blaze and Kira look around as he smiles. It's nice of them to teach us and let us just come whenever we want, he says. As they near Kira's house, she grows uneasy seeing men outside, their uniforms marking them as military collector. Spotting her father, she walks up to him. What's happening? She asks and he sighs. I pulled some strings at the military academy and enrolled Blaze, he could use the discipline, he says looking at him. Kira gasps. No, you can't do that. He hasn't done anything wrong. She protests as Blaze looks at him in shock. Her father's face remains stern. I know, but it's for his own good. The temple has already reported his abilities to the authorities. They believe he poses a threat to public safety. The military officers approach, their hands hovering near their weapons. We're here to escort him to the academy for processing. You should go inside, Kira. Blaze steps forward, his jaw set. Sir, with all due respect, I don't want to go to the academy. I just want to learn at the temple. Her father scoffs. The temple? They're just a group of crazy monks. The academy will give you real training, real purpose. Blaze's eyes narrow, his stance firm. With all due respect, sir, I think I can decide what's best for me. I appreciate your concern, but I'm not interested in the academy. His words are laced with a quiet intensity. Kira's father's face darkens, his hand moving to rest on his weapon. You don't understand, boy. Your abilities are too dangerous to leave unchecked. The academy will help you control them. He turns to Kira. Go inside, now. Kira shakes her head, tears welling up. No, I won't leave him. This isn't right, father. The military officers step closer, their weapons now drawn. Blaze lowers his head. Kira, it'll be okay. I promise. I'll come see you when I can. It's not far, he says, tears in their eyes. Blaze, you're my best friend. Don't let them change you and don't lose yourself, she says as the men lead him away. I won't, he says, smirking. As the days pass, Kira finds it increasingly difficult to focus on her studies at the temple. She constantly worries about Blaze, wondering how he's coping with the rigid structure and constant supervision. A full year before he can leave the grounds. Who made that dumb rule? She thinks. Dad wouldn't do that, would he? She asks herself as she watches the monks. ... At the military academy, Blaze looks around his bunk as Mikhail walks over. Well, if it isn't Kira's little protector, he chides. Blaze tenses, his back stiffening as he turns to face Mikhail. The muscular recruit looms large, his smirk revealing a cruel intent. I'm not her protector, we're just friends, he says, his words laced with uncertainty. Mikhail's smirk widens, his hand moving to rest on Blaze's shoulder. Friends? That's not what I heard. Word is, you and Kira are pretty close. His grip tightens painfully. Maybe you should focus on your training instead of brooding over some girl. Several other recruits gather nearby, their expressions ranging from amusement to outright hostility. Blaze sighs, realizing what's about to happen. Confident he can handle them, Mikhail moves quickly, catching him by surprise with a punch he barely sees coming. Dazed as the others jump in, he covers his vital areas as the young boys kick and punch. After a few minutes, Mikhail pushes the others back as Blaze coughs, groaning in pain. This is my unit, understand, and newbies are maggots. Now crawl to your bed, maggot, he says, snickering as he gives him one last kick. Kira's heart aches as she thinks of Blaze, trapped within the confines of the military academy. The rigid structure and constant surveillance must be suffocating, she thinks as she longs to see him. to reassure herself that he's alright and hasn't lost his essence in the face of such oppression. As the days turn into weeks, Kira finds solace in her studies at the temple, but her mind still drifts to thoughts of Blaze. The very thought of him being hurt or broken fills her with a fierce protectiveness. 3 months in during PT, Mikhail looks at Blaze as they sprint across a mud-filled obstacle course. You think she's waiting for you? Come on buddy, as is, no contact or anything. He teases. Blaze's jaw clenches as he runs, his mind consumed by thoughts of Kira. The mud splatters around him as he pushes himself harder, driven by a need to prove his worth despite the taunts. He silently vows to endure this ordeal, to return to Kira and show her he hasn't changed, that he's still the same person she knew. He pushes himself harder, the mud and sweat mingling as he continues running, his mind fixed on the goal of his eventual freedom. As the weeks and months pass, his body adapts to the physical demands of the academy, his muscles becoming more defined and his stamina increasing. 6 months into his training, he's jogging along a trail as his clone Mikhail comes up beside him. You really should give up on thinking she's not some hopper like the other girls in town, he says, and Blaze tackles him to the ground. Reaching out, they gasp as they tumble down a steep slope. At the bottom, Blaze jumps up as Mikhail charges toward him. Blaze plants his feet and cancels out the spear attempt, throwing him to the ground. The boy is struggling a moment. Blaze mounts up over him and throws a few punches that he dodges. Both of them stopping as a small crater forms around Blaze's punches. Mikhail looks up at him in shock. Blaze raising his hands in horror. Mikhail swallows nervously. I don't really think that about her. I was just giving you a hard time, he says as the MPs notice the scuffle. The next day, Mikhail pulls Blaze aside in the mess hall. Hey, I was kind of an ass yesterday. She actually asks me about you every time I see her. It's really annoying, but really limiting yourself though buddy, he says, smiling as he looks at a passing student. Blaze squints at him. Don't you have a girlfriend? He asks. His slightly altered clone chuckles. She calls us that, but I don't think Zara is my kind of girl. She's too soft, he says, nudging Blaze in the arm. Watch this, he says, moving over to the line. As he watches, Blaze chuckles as Mikhail flirts with one of the girls and goes silent as Zara turns around and slaps him. As he comes back over, Blaze keeps himself together. Yeah, she seems really soft, he says, starting to laugh. His clone smirks. I barely felt that, he says, and Zara looks over, rolling her eyes. A year after Kira's father shipped Blaze to the military academy, she sits meditating in the temple after school. Thoughts of seeing Blaze in a few days making her smile. She smirks as her energetic mental construct Lena forms a body around the object on the ground before her. The monks watching in awe as the barely visible figure waves and then rejoins with her. Kira gasps from the effort and relaxes her body. Just then a familiar aura washes over her and she turns around in surprise. A grin taking over her face as she sees Blaze standing behind her. Jumping up, she rushes over and hugs him tightly. Oh my gosh, I thought you'd be a few more days, she says as they embrace. Pulling away, she looks at him closer, noticing the changes over the last year. He looks so, she thinks, blushing, suddenly becoming very shy. Blaze grins, his eyes crinkling at the corners as he returns Kira's hug. He breathes in her familiar scent, a mix of incense and something uniquely her, and feels a warmth spread through his chest. Surprise, he says, his voice a low rumble against her ear. I couldn't wait any longer to see you. He pulls back, holding her at arm's length as he takes in the sight of her. Her features more defined, her eyes brighter. He notices the blush creeping across her cheeks and feels a flutter in his stomach, a timidness coming over him. You look different, he says, his gaze lingering on her eyes. Kira's blush deepens at his compliment, a soft smile playing on her lips. You do too, she says, her fingers absently tracing the outline of the fresh scar along his jaw. I missed you so much. Her hand lingers on his skin for a moment before she remembers where they are. Oh, I'm sorry, she says, growing even more shy. He chuckles. I don't mind. But I do have to be back on base by midnight or I can't get leave for the next day after training. He tells her. He takes Kira's hand, a spark seeming to dance between their fingertips. Walk with me, I want to show you something, he says, and Kira nods. As they walk out of the temple grounds, Blaze marvels at the changes in the town. The once familiar streets now seem strange and foreign. Looking over, Kira notices his expression and squeezes his hand reassuringly. It's good to be back, he says, his words more for himself than for her. Everything's different, but not by much. I'm glad to see you. She smiles, a soft and gentle expression that seems to light up her face. They started allowing technology from overseas the last 10 months and construction's been way faster. She says, eyeing a tall yellow and black crane as its engine roars to life. They only allow certain people to have cars and stuff, but TVs and electricity are spreading fast. She says, seeing him looking at the power lines above. Blaze nods, taking in the changes with a mix of fascination and unease. The roar of the crane engine and the buzz of the power lines foreign to his ears, a stark contrast to the quiet simplicity he once knew. The unliving energy in the lines distracting as they pulsate overhead. He squeezes Kira's hand, drawing comfort from her presence as they continue walking. So, what did you want to show me? She asks, her curiosity piqued as he glances at her, a glint in his eye. You'll see, he replies, a smirk playing on his lips. He leads her through the winding streets, past the bustling marketplace and the newly erected buildings, until they reach the outskirts of town. As they reach a cliff overlooking the ocean, they walk gazing out over the peaceful waters, many seagulls flying overhead. As they walk, Blaze takes a knee as he pulls out a box. I know it's kinda early, but, Kira, when we get there, will you marry me? He asks. Kira's eyes widen in shock as Blaze kneels before her, the velvet box in his hands seeming to glow under the soft light of the setting sun. She blinks rapidly, trying to process the sudden turn of events, her heart pounding wildly in her chest. The seagulls continue their cheerful cries overhead. Kira takes a shuddering breath, her hands trembling as she reaches out to caress Blaze's cheek. His eyes search hers, a mixture of nervousness and hope dancing in their depths. The salty sea breeze tangles in her hair, the strands dancing around her face like a halo. I wasn't expecting that, she chuckles shyly. She puts her hand out. There's nothing more that I want. Me and you, and we'll travel helping others someday too, she says happily as he slips the promise ring onto her finger with a smile. Just then a loud pop nearby startles them. Kira's face contorting in confusion and shock as she feels a searing pain in her chest. Blaze's eyes wide as he sees a piece of metal fly past him, blood spattering her clothing, and he instinctively reaches out, catching her as she collapses breathlessly. The seagulls scattering in alarm as a dark figure emerges, a smoking gun in hand. Blaze cradles her looking towards the attacker, her body going limp in his arms as he frantically tries to stem the bleeding with his shirt. The assassin approaches, weapon still trained on them, the setting sun casting an eerie red glow over the scene. Who sent you? Blaze demands, his voice cracking with emotion and fury. Suddenly the demon pup Spark appears, his tiny body bursting into purple flames as he transforms into a 200-pound wolf beast and charges at the man who flees through a portal. Blaze's eyes fill with tears as Kira struggles to breathe, her strength fading fast as he keeps pressure on her wound. Don't give up, Kira. Don't leave me, he cries. Doc. Hours later, Blaze sits in the hospital as Kira's father walks out of her room. His face is grim as he approaches Blaze, his steps measured and deliberate. The middle-aged man's eyes, usually so warm and wise, now hardened with concern and a flicker of suspicion that makes Blaze's heart sink. Blaze, he says, his voice low and heavy with emotion. Kira is stable, but the surgery was difficult. The doctors say she may not wake up for some time. Blaze nods, his throat tight with unshed tears. He clenches his fists, the promise ring on his finger, a stark reminder of the happy moment that had been so cruelly shattered. I'll stay with her. Her father shakes his head. I think it best if we wait till she wakes. It's just odd that this happens as you and my daughter were alone, your first day back. I won't deceive you, I don't trust you even now. And if you had anything to do with this assassination attempt, I won't hesitate to have you executed, he says coldly. Blaze swallows hard and is about to protest but sees it only worsening things and regretfully follows her father outside. "Sir, I just want you to know. I would never hurt Kira like that. I know it's suspicious and understand. I will find her attackers, sir," he says as he wishes Spark could talk to more than just he and Kira. He nods solemnly, his eyes never leaving Blaze's face as if searching for any hint of deception. "See that you do," he says, his voice a low growl. "For Kira's sake, I will be watching you closely." With that, he turns and walks away, his footsteps echoing in the sterile hospital corridor. Blaze watches him go, a heavy weight settling in his chest. He knows he must find the truth, not only to clear his name but to protect Kira from any further danger. He turns back to her room, his resolve hardening as he pushes open the door. Inside, Kira lies still, her face pale against the white sheets. Monitors beep softly, measuring her vital signs. He feels drawn to move closer but her guards block the way with their electrified lances. "I'm sorry, Sir Blaze. Orders are no one visits but her father," the humanoid wolf says, the regret clear in his voice. Blaze sighs. "Can you tell her I was here when she wakes up? I don't want her to think I just didn't bother," he says. The guard nods solemnly. "Of course, sir, I'll make sure she knows." He pauses, his eyes flickering with concern. "Sir Blaze, I've served the family for many years. I know how much Kira cares for you. If you need anything, just ask. I'll do what I can within reason." Blaze appreciates the gesture, though he knows the guard's loyalty lies with the family first. "Thank you, I know she's safe with you, Shadow Wolf." He turns to leave, his mind already racing with possibilities. As he steps out into the hallway, he bumps into a familiar face, Grandmaster Han, his white robes immaculate as always. "I see they have her under protection for now." "Understandable. How are you holding up, young Blaze?" he asks, his voice tinged with concern. Blaze takes a deep breath, trying to steady himself as he faces Grandmaster Han. The weight of the situation presses down on him, the worry for Kira's safety and the suspicion hanging over his head threatening to crush his spirit. He meets the Grandmaster's gaze, seeing the genuine concern in his eyes, and feels a flicker of gratitude amidst the turmoil. "I'm holding on," Blaze admits, his voice rough with emotion. "It's hard to believe this is happening, that Kira is lying in there, fighting for her life. And the way her father looked at me, I understand his suspicion, but it still hurts." The Grandmaster nods, his expression solemn as he puts a hand on his shoulder. "It is a lot for one so young to experience. I believe you will both pull through this stronger than before. Can't let the world's evil corrupt how you see the world in all its glory," he says cryptically as they walk under the new street lights shining overhead. Dot. 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 Back at the academy, Mikhail rushes over to Blaze as he walks into the barracks. "Dude, what happened out there? All the higher-ups are going crazy and they keep saying we might go to war. Some assassination attempt on a royal but no one's saying much else," he says, his face showing worry for the first time since Blaze has seen him. Blaze's expression darkens, his fists clenching at his sides as he tries to contain his emotions. "It was Kira, she was shot. Someone tried to kill her." The words come out rough, thick with grief and anger. Mikhail's face freezes in shock, his usual cocky smirk replaced by genuine concern. "Kira, the chick you're always gushing over." He moves closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Man, that's messed up. Are you okay? Do they know who did it?" Blaze shakes his head, pain and rage warring for dominance in his heart. "No, but it had to be someone from Talcar. It's the only kingdom where teleportation magic is a constant rumor and guns like the one used exist," he tells him. Mikhail's eyes widen as he processes this new information. "Talcar, those bastards. If it's true that they attacked Kira." He trails off, his jaw clenching with barely contained fury. "I'm sorry, man, really. Kira's a good kid. She doesn't deserve this." Blaze nods, a bitter smile twisting his lips. "You're right, she doesn't, and I'm going to find out who did this and make them pay." His voice low, intense, the determination in his eyes unmistakable. Mikhail hesitates for a moment, then speaks up. "You know, I might be able to help with that. I've got some connections." Blaze squints at him, How's a 14-year-old have connections in Talcar? He asks confused. His clone smirks. I can't tell you that yet. Just trust me, buddy, he says. Dot. 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 As Blaze tries to sleep, he tosses and turns thinking of Kira. He looks up at the ceiling. As he lay there, he suddenly feels like praying. God, if you're there, please help Kira to get better quickly. She's my best friend and I'm scared of losing her. I may not be good enough, but I know you are. I know you can do something and I thank you. He says softly as tears fill his eyes. While he lay there, a wave of exhaustion washes over him as he passes into sleep. Dot. 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 The next morning, Blaze wakes up early, driven by a restless energy. He changes into his academy training gear and heads to the outdoor practice area. As he moves through the exercises, his thoughts keep returning to Kira. The sun beats down mercilessly, but he continues, pushing himself harder and harder. I have to become strong enough to protect her, no matter what it takes. He thinks to himself as he collapses to the dirt. His commanding officers watching closely. Dot. Dot. The next day during breakfast, an officer takes Blaze aside in the mess hall. You'll be glad to know that Kira is awake. She's been asking for you all day as well. Her father has approved a few days leave so you can see her. He says, and Blaze perks up. Feeling relief and a spark of joy, he smiles. Thank you, sir, that's great news. I'll head there right away. He stands up from the table, his breakfast forgotten. The officer nods, a slight smile on his face. Dismissed, but be back by sunset the day after tomorrow. We've got important training exercises scheduled for the next few days, big changes coming. Blaze salutes crisply, already moving towards the exit. Yes, sir, I'll be here on time. He strides out of the mess hall, his heart feeling lighter. As he walks, he spots Mikhail lounging against the wall, his usual smirk firmly in place. Be careful out there, buddy, he says, and Blaze nods. Dot. 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 At the hospital, Kira lights up as he enters her room. Blaze, she says, holding out her arms for a hug. Kira embraces him tightly, her eyes shining with happiness. I missed you so much, she whispers, her voice thick with emotion. I was so scared, but I knew you'd come. He hugs her back just as fiercely, burying his face in her hair. I missed you too, Kira, more than you know. I was terrified when I saw you like that. He pulls back slightly to look at her, his hands cupping her face gently. You look better. She smiles, a soft blush coloring her cheeks at his touch. I am. The doctors say I'm healing well. And having you here makes everything better. He frowns a moment, seeing the lead projectile in a jar on the nightstand. Spark having located it at the scene. I hope I never see a gun in person again, he says, shivering as he recalls the moment and damage the bullet had done. Dot. 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 Back at the academy, Mikhail frowns, seeing the new training schedule and a few new classes. He reads the new additions to himself a moment. M4 target practice, naval strategy, radio communications. He pauses as his stomach sinks. Special unit recon and battlefield readiness. He steps back, looking at his uniform, and reads the tag. Special unit number 02. He sits in a nearby chair. They wouldn't send kids into war, right? He thinks out loud. A passing CO overhearing him pauses, then stands beside him. No, that's just a training regiment. For now, 20 is the minimum age. Besides, our alliances are working to avoid conflict. He pauses, seeing Mikhail's pale face, and puts a hand on his shoulder. Don't worry, son. There hasn't been a major conflict since the fall of Redemption hundreds of years ago, and if one starts, it's our job to make sure you're ready as men. Try not to let the prospect get the better of you, he says, then makes his leave. Dot. Dot. Dot.